Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. I am your host, PommyInOz, and if you would do me a solid while we go through this intro, hit that like and that subscribe button. And this week, we're diving into the Carlton Football Club in our series of draft strategies for the mid-season draft. Now, you've got this side here that is, at the minute, teetering on the 8 at the minute, and at the start of the year, we thought they were top 4, and it's really been a frustrating could-have-been year already for the Blues. The list is brimming with talent, but it's the execution that is really killing them, particularly inside 50 and with the ball in hand. Currently sitting 11th on the ladder, 4 and 6. They're the 8th oldest list, the 8th most experienced side. It's not a rebuild, it's about getting the polyfiller to fill in some of these cracks, particularly front and centre of the ball. We're going to have a look at Carlton's options, we're going to have a look at their strategies, and we're going to go deep diving into what Nick Austin and Agresta have to do in mid-season to help the Blues find their talent. So let's start off with what we know. As we said in the intro, the 8th oldest list and the 8th most experienced list. And they're a side that, ironically, from D50 to inside 50 are ranked 3rd at transitioning the ball and creating them inside 50 opportunities. The big thing is, though, but even though Carlton have got them good D50 to inside 50 generations, they rank 18 for the percentage of shots at goal. 43.4% of our inside 50s generate a shot at goal, and we rank 14 for even just having shots at goal, which is really, really disappointing when you look at how them metrics usually translate. A lot of people have talked about our good defence, but the big concern is we're not finishing off our homework. And that also comes down to the small forwards. In this instance, Durden, Motlop, Evans, White haven't been consistent enough. They haven't brought the pressure consistently enough, and they certainly haven't brought the conversion, and a lot rests on the 2 big pillars there. It's also a problem for how Carlton metronome the ball and what pace they go. When they go slow, it really does open up just how poor they can be with using the ball. So when you're looking into this draft for what things are needed, you could also maybe open up halfback line and try and get one of them more dynamic players a little bit more ahead of the ball. You don't really want to rob Peter to pay Paul. It's definitely going to be Wheatering and Jesus are the staples around there. Players like Haynes and McGovern offer that reliability, but the Blues may look at getting something that's going to help them try and get that ball to front and centre a little bit more quick, who isn't slow, and pair him up with Saad on the other halfback flank. Carlton have tried a lot of players in that avenue, but they definitely are looking in this draft for someone that can get the ball from contest or finish off the work when the ball is in contest. We've got a lot of players that win them contested balls. We want to get it out on the spread. Carlton have spent a lot of resources in the last 2 drafts trying to get players in that don't. And if we look at their draft throughout the ages in recent times, you will see that Carlton have really ironically focused on outside run. They brought in Elijah, that conduit, in 2023, Orazio Fantasia, Ashton Moyer, Billy Wilson, very quick, Matt Carroll, halfback, he's got that marauding ability, Cooper Lord. And then last year, they really doubled down. Jagger Smith, it hasn't worked out because he's got the ACL, but it will do in the long term. But a guy that's got really good pace, finds the ball, and again, another player that can get the ball away from the problems. Ben and Lucas love playing out on the wide. And then you've got Harry Charleston, Will White, who was brought in another pace. But Carlton have really tried to, with the advent of Ollie Hollands and players like that, bring that extra. But when you look at next year and you look at what Carlton are going to miss, there is a little feeling here that if you have the draft strategy, you've only got 3 picks, and at this stage, they're not very good ones, that you've got 2 dilemmas here. The draft, they're light on the capital. They've really invested in 2026. We'll get Cody Walker in. Should do anyway, because I can't see him choosing Richmond. And then the MSD really is an opportunity here to try and say, can we maximise someone before our draft class? Or do they look at someone and change the setup a little bit? And we're going to cover all them options here. Both are valid, but this is probably the most important list decision the Blues have had for a long time. So Carlton's game model, as we know, relies heavily on that contested pressure, and then also the real second and third efforts. And the Blues backline has really held up well, and it's generating a lot of intercepts, and it's generating a lot of ball going the other way. So one is the future planning that we talked about. Want to get ahead of the draft class this year, select some elite traits with upside, and probably try and look at the small forwards. When you look at them players that were out of contract this year, there is a lot of options there for the Blues to try and get it. Looking for some immediate impact, a bit of injection of pace, some goal sense inside 50 if it's a small forward, a polish with the ball use as well if you are going to get someone that's going to help in the transitional phases of the game. Or maybe it's something that's a structural thing. But tactical by needs is definitely a small forward. Someone that actually kicks goals, that's got a little bit of pace. Or is it someone that is an elite ball user in and around the ball? You can maybe play him up the wing, play him down at half back. Carlton have that clear identity of a contested team. It's about being a little bit smarter and a little bit faster around the ball and not allowing themselves to stay in the pressure too much. That might be able to open this group up. We saw 2023, the mass amounts of handballs, and when we started to go quick, how effective that was because it hid all of our problems. This could be an interesting option here if the Blues can find a player that suits that bill in a speculative, it has to be said, kind of draft. So let's look at the big board. So first guy we're going to look at is Sam Turner, 18 years old, real strong leap on him, incredibly quick, very unlucky not to really be in the draft class last year and get picked up because we did like this kid. Got real good scoreboard ability, really strong, really versatile. He's been a real staple of this Richmond team. Now, he hasn't kicked any goals for the Richmond team, so this is probably the first little complaint that we're going to have here. But you can see there from his season, he has been very strong, playing the 4 games, 11.5 touches, going at 69.6%, 4 marks, 2.8 inside 50s, 2 score involvements. Now, this is probably one for now-ish, but with upside for next year, which means then you can maybe not have to worry about filling this requirement in the draft, where a lot of them players will be in the later status. I really like this guy because I feel like they've got enough grunt, and I feel like this has got the traits that we don't have in the forward line. Explosiveness, goal sense, and genuine athletic upside. Another option for the Blues would be Massimo Raso, who has really caught the eye. A guy that can be sometimes guilty of drifting in and out of games. 7 games this year in the VFL, 14.1 touches, 68.7 efficiency, 1.7 marks, 1.7 goals. A little bit of clearances there as well, around stoppage, 1.6, 2.4 score involvements, and not scared of attacking the ball at the deck. And he's a real one-touch type player at ground level, very smart around stoppages, uses the ball pretty well in the terms of the vision, does need to clean up his disposal though at times, but he is a front and centre specialist. Quick hands, very clever patterns, and looks like he would be someone who would be easy to coach, I feel. A high-ceiling player, and this is something that Carlton have failed to nail since they brought Eddie Betts back. So these are like kind of the facets that the Blues probably don't look at enough, in my opinion, and he could be a good option. Now, another name that has been floated about, who is a very intriguing option, is Jacob Newton. Playing for Norwood, 3 goals in back-to-back games. He has been dominant. He has great mark for his size, kicks some really good goals as well. Real explosive off the mark. And he's a natural player. And he's probably the most unpredictable of the bunch because he just does some things that just are, I wouldn't say unworldly, but things that sometimes don't make kind of sense. His power is incredible. And the 4 games he's played this year, 8 touches for just under 2 goals, is really strong. And the 2.5 tackles, he puts that in. And I think unpredictability is really important for the Blues because sometimes it does become same old. Now, then they could look at a tactical shift. When you've got a side that obviously just struggle with using the ball well in the right situations, you've got to look at where you're kicking it to. And it's no surprise that when Carlton have played this 3-tall system, they have looked fairly strong. And they have got a gentleman by the name of Liam McMahon, 23 years old this year, kicks 18 goals from his 5 games, a natural forward, marks at the highest point, incredible leading patterns, a really strong, calculated customer, and definitely would be an option for the Blues because he knows the system. Only the 10 touches, but 4.5 marks, and the ability as well to really read the game well. This could be something that Carlton look to experiment with the 3-tall forward line. Is Lemmy ready to go? This is the only issue I have with this pick, is you'd have a lot of key forwards in there. I know Lemmy's out of contract next year. Then you've got Hudson O'Keefe. Is this something that the Blues look at? Provides instant structure and maturity. And okay, you've got one more, but if it works and it's a 3-tall system, that could be a huge benefit for the Blues. And then the final one we're going to look at, and Carlton will link to this guy heavily in the preseason, Michael Sellwood from Peel Thunder at the minute. This guy is a real intriguing one because I can see him actually having scope to get high up the ground and maybe be a winger as well, because he started life when he was a junior as a winger and he has got an elite engine. And the big thing about Michael Sellwood is how he uses the ball. 6 games this year, 23.7 touches and a staggering 80.3 disposal efficiency, 7.5 marks, 5.8 rebound 50s, 2.7 inside 50s, 3.3 tackles. Real strong player. This is kind of like something that what we saw with Alex Cincotta do, but with a little bit of a different edge here that I feel like with him being 21, with him being in that system, this is probably something that the Blues have been trying to fabricate with other players and could maybe free them up. And the idea of having Sard and Sellwood jettison off there would be interesting. The only reservation I've got with this pick is, where's Billy Wilson at? How does it look with Newman coming back into the team? There seems to be a lot of these players, but the problem is a lot of these players don't seem to be doing what we're wanting them to do. So that's really fascinating for me. So if I'm in the chair at Icon Park, I'm probably going traits over system. And that is probably where Carlton's, sometimes their selection goes off. But I'm going to look at Sam Toner here. This is the guy that I'm really leaning towards. I think he's got scope for massive improvement. My only reservation with him is what's he learning off. But from just his natural crafts and smarts, he's really there. I'm kind of on the fence with Massimo Raso as well, because I feel like he has got everything. But these traits that they both bring, forward pressure, intensity, does excite me. But I feel like Toner is the game that's most translatable. I do really like the pick up of Sellwood as well. It would immediately change and shift up, having someone that does like to take the game on. And I feel at times we're relying too much on our tall players to do that. So it'll be interesting how it plays out. Let me know in the comments, would you like to go a free tall system? That one really does intrigue me. Is it a Raso? Is it a Toner? Let me know what you want in the comments, because I do feel like we need to inject some difference. And I think not only is that structure, but also maybe the personnel involved. Who would you take? Are you going youth? Are you going to go for structure? Are you going to go for now? Are you going to go for later? And do you think this is important this year, that we use this to try and get ahead of the draft next year and try and maximise the limited arsenal we've got? Smash them comment section. Sub if you haven't. See you soon. Pom out.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it in a sense, a feel of discontent.